Install video for Rizoma TF042 as used on Aprilia RSV4, 210V4, and others. That's this gas cap assembly here, which is a nice quarter turn with a Clevis style key situation. So we're going to explain how to install this on an RSV4 with the stock gas cap. What we're first going to do is pull the 4 bolts here that retain the stock gas cap assembly. For expedience of this example, I've pulled 2 bolts. Alright, so now we have the gas cap loose. Notice that there's this gasket here that goes on the fuel tank assembly like so. Next we'll notice that there are 5 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that hold the plastic base plate onto the metal ring. We're going to pull that next. At this point, all 5 of the screws have been pulled from the gas cap base plate assembly, which allows us to separate the plastic base plate from the metal stock ring. You're going to reuse this filler gasket, which doesn't appear to do anything on the bike, but it's a nice filler piece to just make the installation look a little bit more complete. Something I want to draw attention to quickly is that there is a raised section of this gasket. You might just be able to see it there. This actually corresponds to an opening in the base plate assembly. You see there's a matching opening here. So this raised section will go in that part of the base plate assembly. Okay, and here's where the installation gets a little weird. Rizoma with their kit offers this very nicely machined billet aluminum threaded post plate that's supposed to allow you to mount the base plate on the tank easily, roughly oriented like so. The issue is that the thickness of this piece doesn't really work with the recess of area here in the Aprilia V4 and 210V4 and Capinord fuel tank assemblies. So what you have to use is the 5 stainless steel M5 nuts supplied in the kit. Those go in these 5 recesses from which you pulled the screws, the fuel cap assembly, or the base plate assembly, so like this. The reason you're doing this is so you can temporarily hold these nuts during install when you flip the plate over and they don't all just spill in here. So working one nut at a time, you'll use the supplied AF1 racing nut and then each one of the 5 Rizoma fasteners, run them into the hole, and working again one at a time, tighten these down all the way around until you've got all 5 holding in these stainless nuts. At this point, the Rizoma gas cap is now successfully mated to the Aprilia base plate assembly. Drawing attention now also, remember you've got the gasket seated as previously discussed, but also there is a wide embossed section here, from here to here. This will indicate the rear, so that flattened section is the rear, so it goes like that. Okay. At this point we can remove the gas cap and begin to remove the 5 bolts that we temporarily assembled. Probably important to note that as you're removing these bolts, you want to make sure they remove one at a time, so that way the base plate, the plastic base plate beneath here, doesn't get stuck to it when you lift it. If that happens, then the nuts could fall down to the tank and you have to start the process over again, let alone fishing out the nuts. So pull these bolts one at a time. With all the bolts pulled, we can now carefully lift off the Rizoma gas cap, and the Aprilia base plate remains in place with the gasket beneath it. Again, this wide boxed section is at the rear of the tank, and we're ready now to lay back on the trim ring. The trim ring does have a 4 aft designation. There are actually a series of 5 bumps on the gasket here, these designated as the rear. So we'll set that back on, and then the Rizoma gas cap itself goes back on. Before we do that, we need to install the 4 bolts that hold the actual assembly to the tank, and that's what we'll be doing now. Now we have the four M5 by 20 Allen head bolts holding the plastic base plate on. Now we can install the Rizoma gas cap. The text, typically, if it's present on the design, will be on the right-hand side of the ring here. At this point, we can reinstall the 5 special bolts that hold the Rizoma aluminum gas cap to the Aprilia base plate. At this point, we've tightened all 5 of the perimeter bolts holding the gas cap down. Everything is secure. Then the gas cap itself can be installed by simply dropping in, pushing in the screw, and turning 1/4. And at that point, you're done.